Channel Online Big Blue will bring you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Tuesday, June 14th. Another show. Why not? One a day. We're going to try to keep this roll until training camp. I have a plethora of topics. And we did a video yesterday about Saquon Barkley and the potential of Mr. Barkley missing multiple games going into the beginning of the season. It's a realistic possibility. And I also mentioned that I didn't feel that the Giants roster could probably withstand an extended loss of Barkley because of the fact that you are then going to be putting the pressure on the offensive line. You will see defenses stack 7-8 in the box and make the Giants throw and beat them. Under normal circumstances, if it was a young Eli Manning or even an older Eli Manning, I'd probably have more confidence of that being the game plan, allowing the teams to stack the box, and with the newfound depth that we have at wide receiver and the newfound talent with Tony and Kenny G and bringing back Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram, Darius Slayton, even potentially Dante Pettis, I wouldn't be as concerned. But, it's Daniel Jones. We have to wait and see what Daniel Jones can do and can't do. It'll be a big, at the start of the season, it's going to be a big, the first 5 games are going to be huge for the Giants. Because if they start off poorly and Daniel Jones starts off poorly, I think the roller coaster is just going to go downhill. But I was thinking, and I even mentioned in the video, is there a running back available that could help shoulder the load for it doesn't even have to be for the entire season, but maybe for a period of time that would allow the Giants the opportunity to have some kind of semblance of a running game. And I was scanning the waiver wires, and Todd Gurley is still available. Now, I know the last 2 years for Gurley have been up and down. He had the big season, of course, in 18 and 17 after his big rookie year. And it kind of, the injury bug seemed to strike him over with the Rams. You don't know, there was the whole playoff situation and the Super Bowl that they didn't seem to lean on him. But over the last 2 years in 19 and 20, he has played 30 games. And he's carried the ball 223 times in 19 and 195 in 2020. Now his yards per carry have gone down a little bit exponentially. He's gone from 4.7, 4.9 to 3.8, 3.5. And he's never going to be a dynamic threat out of the backfield like he was back in 18 and 17. He only had 31 receptions and 25 in 2020. But I don't need him to be the focal point of the offense. I need a running back. I think the Giants need a running back, which will at least even for a short period of time, which can keep the defenses honest. You will have moments of clarity with Todd Gurley, where he'll be able to bust through the lines and show his form back from 18. And you're going to have some moments where he's going to plunge into the line. He's going to look like the 2020 back. Atlanta thought Atlanta to me, they didn't misuse Gurley. The guy's only 26 years old. It's not like he's 30 years old. Do I think he's got a ton of tread on the tires? No, but I think he's enough to move and push the pile to get 3-4 yards when needed. And I think even if you are stacking the box, he has the ability still to find the open hole. He does have great field vision and move the pile. And it's a lot easier to run block than it is to pass block. Anyone that's played the game or watched the game will tell you that. It's easier to push forward than it is to go backwards. So I think if he was filling in for Barkley, let's say for the first 4 or 5 games of the season, I would probably feel more comfortable about it. And the fact that he could probably be gotten on the cheap. Why? Because he's coming out of Atlanta. There doesn't seem to be a multitude of interest. I know he had a meeting with He just had a meeting in Baltimore, and there's potentially talk about him in Seattle. but I think he's a guy that can be had for a little bit more than the veteran minimum. I think he could. I really do. He signed a 1-year, $6 million contract with Atlanta. And like I said, it didn't really pan out like he thought he was. So even if we brought him in at 1 year, $3 million, I think that'd be a fair deal. Or even if you make it 2 years, $7 million, throw in a little bonus money. I don't have a problem with that. You make the contract non-guaranteed. You give him the bonus money up front, so you're going to lose that money in the front end. But I think he can be a short-term solution for the Saquon Barkley issue and potentially be an insurance policy if Saquon Barkley needs to go out once in a while. I mean, Barkley is going to be your dynamic back. Gurley is going to now be your bell cow, going down the middle of the line, ducking his head and running through. Just a thought. Another thought, again, was the defensive end position. Or even linebacker position. I'm still not 100% sold, if I was the Giants, on what they have available right now at the defensive end. They don't really have too many. They have 2 true defensive ends on their line. And I love when people say, well, in the 3-4, you don't have to have a pass rush from your defensive ends. Yeah, okay. Tell that to Leonard Marshall. Tell that to George Martin. Just throwing that out there. They only play with 2 Hall of Fame linebackers, but that's okay. People know a lot about those people that said that knew a lot about sports. I understand that, and they know a lot about how defense philosophy work. This is not Madden. The Giants need some kind of rush. They really do. They have to have some kind of rush from the outside. And I was looking again. I was scanning the waiver wire. We're gonna have to find someone on the cheap. I mentioned Melvin Ingram. I mentioned KJ Wright, especially at the linebacker position. But there was a name a couple of years back that Giants fans were gaga over, and I didn't like. I even said I didn't like it. But Vic Beasley. Vic Beasley, of course, had an okay run with the Atlanta Falcons. He played outside linebacker. He played right defensive end. He played left defensive end. He had the big season in 16 with his 15.5 sacks, but then he went to 5 sacks, 8 sacks in 19, to no sacks in 2020. Got waived by Tennessee, ended up with the Las Vegas Raiders for a while. Got nothing out of there. 37.5 career sacks, total of 88 games. He started 60. 78 total games in Atlanta, started 60 there as well. Played 5 games with the Raiders and 5 games with Tennessee. So like I said, I think he can literally be had on a veteran minimum deal. He can potentially offer in spurts a pass rush from the outside edge position. He's never going to be a great run stopper, but you know what? We're looking for people that can fill the roster and fill voids and fill situational spots. I'm not looking for him to come in and start 16 games and play 80% of the snaps. I'm looking for him to come into the game and be the situational pass rusher. Do I think he is going to get a ton of sacks? No, I don't think he's going to get a ton of sacks. I really don't. But I think that, I don't know what that big thud, there was a thunderstorm out there. I don't think he's going to get a ton of sacks. But you know what I think he can do? I think he can generate and create pressure and create that pressure from the edge, which then will allow someone like Leonard Williams to come up from the middle. You are looking for ways to generate your pass rush from the interior, which you're going to need to do with Dexter Lawrence and our old buddy Leonard Williams. But to do that, you want to make sure teams aren't collapsing the middle by keeping their tight end and their running back and sending them into the middle of the field. You want to some way and somehow keep them on the outside edge as well, so you can open up those mismatches down the middle of the in the middle of the field for Leonard Williams. And I find it amazing that if you look at statistically for Vic, he only played, if you look at his snap count, he only played in 51, 60. His big year in 16, he only played in 60% of the defensive snaps. The most that he's played was 73% back in 19. So again, I'm looking at this kid just to be situational. He's gone 51, 60, 46, 64, 73. Down 11% last year. And I want the same thing. Maybe 46% of his snaps I want to have. And at 17, when he had 46% of the snaps, he generated only five sacks. But that's fine. Like I said, I don't need him to be an every down player. And you can probably I can almost guarantee you can get him on a veteran minimum, non-guaranteed contract. And at the end of the day, if we need to release him, it'll cost nothing for us in cap space. And again, this is Todd Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you can subscribe, if you're not playing here, that means that'd be awesome.